reality behind. Blake's face, gloom and doom collide. Get your fix, ride the cosmic tide. No mercy, no light, only raw might. Prepare your soul for an endless night. Stone rips pound, rhythm takes hold. Welcome to the abyss, let the tale unfold.
Shadows, he comes smiling, breaking chains of fire wide. As like embers, fingers blazing, tells you you're his favorite child. Wings of darkness, cloak of mystery, whispers haunting, softly sings. He says love ain't Halo's glory, in his realm of endless spring. Lucifer loves you, don't you forget. In the depths where sun won't set, heart of flame and soul of night. Find your strength in shadows light. Through the chaos, storms are brewing. Hear him calling names your own. Says the fall is worth the viewing. From his throne, you'll never be alone. No need for angels, lies, and grace. In his arms, you'll find your place. Embrace the dark where stars ignite. In his kiss, lose all your fright. Lucifer loves you, don't you forget. In the depths where sun won't set, heart of flame and soul of night. Find your strength in shadows light.
The belly can't stay asleep. magic brown liquid deep. Give me the strength to face the day. One more cup and I'm on my way. Beans are roasted, smell so sweet. Grind it down to make my treat. Pour it out, nice and hot. Morning brew to taste the spot. Oh, I'm crazy about coffee. Can't get enough, it's got me. Sip it slow or gulping fast. Makes the morning everlast. Cappuccino, latte, black. Cold brew too keeps me on track. Feeling low, just brew a pot. Every drop is hitting the spot. Oh, I'm crazy about coffee. Can't get enough, it's got me. Sip it slow or gulping fast. Makes the morning everlast. Special shots, double down. Coffee rush lifts me off the ground. From the morning till the night. Coffee keeps me feeling right.
The revelation from Jesus Christ, which God gave him to show his servants what must soon take place. He made it known by sending his angel to his servant John, who testifies to everything he saw. That is the word of God and the testimony of Jesus Christ. Blessed is the one who reads aloud the words of this prophecy, and blessed are those who hear it and take to heart what is written in it, because the time is near. John, to the 7 churches in the province of Asia.
Grace and peace to you from him who is, and who was, and who is to come, and from the 7 spirits before his throne, and from Jesus Christ, who is the faithful witness, the firstborn from the dead, and the ruler of the kings of the earth. To him who loves us, and has freed us from our sins by his blood, and has made us to be a kingdom, and priests to serve his God and Father. To him be glory and power forever and ever. Amen. Look, he is coming with the clouds, and every eye will see him, even those who pierced him, and all peoples on earth will mourn because of him. So shall it be. Amen. Amen. I am the Alpha and the Omega, says the Lord God, who is, and who was, and who is to come, the Almighty. I, John, your brother and companion in the suffering and kingdom and patient endurance that are ours in Jesus, who was on the island of Patmos because of the word of God and the testimony of Jesus. On the Lord's day, I was in the Spirit, and I heard behind me a loud voice like a trumpet, which said, write on a scroll what you see, and son of man, dressed in a robe, rich and brilliant in his chest. The hair on his head was white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were like blazing fire. His feet were like bronze glowing as smelting in a furnace. His feet were like bronze glowing in a furnace. His feet were like bronze glowing in a furnace. And that furnace, do not be afraid, the light bronze in waters of light and waters. Grace and peace to you from him who is, and who was, and who is to come, and from the 7 spirits before his throne, and from Jesus Christ, who is the faithful witness, the firstborn from the dead, and the ruler of the kings of the earth. To him who loves us and has freed us from our sins by his blood. To him who loves us, who was of the earth. To him who loves us and has freed us from our sins. To him who loves us and has freed us from our sins by his freed us from our sins by his blood. Then he placed his right hand on me and said, dead. Then he placed his right hand on me and said, do not be afraid. I am the first, the last, I am the living one. I was dead, and now look, I am alive, ever after, ever. And I hold the keys of death and Hades. Right the seven churches of the midst of dead, seven emotions of life. From the dust of stone plans and Pontfar times, from the planet of stone plans and blind iron lights which tune spells to a blind white held slinger's favor. And he
The revelation from Jesus Christ, which God gave him to show his servants what must soon take place. He made it known by sending his angel to his servant John, who testifies to everything he saw. That is, the word of God and the testimony of Jesus Christ. Blessed is the one who reads aloud the words of this prophecy, and blessed are those who hear it and take to heart what is written in it, because the time is near. John, to the seven churches in the province of Asia.
grace and peace to you from him who is, and who was, and who is to come, and from the seven spirits before his throne, and from Jesus Christ, who is the faithful witness, the firstborn from the dead, and the ruler of the kings of the earth. To him who loves us, and has freed us from our sins by his blood, and has made us to be a kingdom, and priests to serve his God and Father. To him be glory and power forever and ever. Amen. Look, he is coming with the clouds, and every eye will see him, even those who pierced him, and all peoples on earth will mourn because of him. So shall it be. Amen. Amen. I am the Alpha and the Omega, says the Lord God, who is, and who was, and who is to come, the Almighty. I, John, your brother and companion in the suffering and kingdom and patient endurance that are ours in Jesus, who was on the island of Patmos because of the word of God and the testimony of Jesus. On the Lord's day, I was in the Spirit, and I heard behind me a loud voice like a trumpet, which said, write on a scroll what you see, and son of man, dressed in a robe, rich and brilliant in chest. The hair on his head was white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were like blazing fire. His feet were like bronze glowing as snowing in a furnace. His feet were like bronze glowing in a furnace. His feet were like bronze glowing in a furnace. And that furnace, do not be afraid, the like frosty waters of lighted waters. Grace and peace to you from him who is, and who was, and who is to come, and from the seven spirits before his throne, and from Jesus Christ, who is the faithful witness, the firstborn from the dead, and the ruler of the kings of the earth. To him who loves us and has freed us from our sins by his blood. To him who loves us, he was of the earth. To him who loves us and has freed us from our sins. To him who loves us and has freed us from our sins.
I forgot to spin my mic around. I did not plan this whole thing for standing up very well. Definitely want to stand up. There we go. That'll do. That'll do, donkey. That'll do.
Gadget stick hit me.
Remember that sometimes the smartest gadgets are the simplest. Lift the cloth.
Sounds like a caveat already.
It's a spoon.
Hello everyone. Today our chef Ben and normal Jamie are going to be putting some smart gadgets to the test, and we're defining smart by a link to technology in some way, shape or form. They're going to try them out, test them and give us their reviews at the end.
The only thing I can think that this has in it is a thermometer.
Or I'm thinking maybe it has some heating element in it. Not that wood is a particularly good conductor, but some sort of, so you've got a warm spoon, because there's nothing worse than maybe cold spoon into it. No, I'm clutching.
Boys, if anything, you're being too innovative. This is the Umbra iSpoon. With tablets and smartphones now firmly established in the kitchen, you won't want to be swiping across your screens with sticky fingers. So use this appropriately themed stylus to navigate your way through a recipe.
So you can stir and taste with one end and swipe and tap with the other.
Yeah.
I as a chef,
I'm with you.
I regularly double end a spoon. So basically,
Yeah.
have one use for one, and then rather than wash it up, you can basically flip it round.
Would you like to make a sauce with a recipe?
Yes.
So we've scribbled you out a very simple
not a
recipe
horrible
just
idea.
to put this to practical use. I know it's a bit futile, but you know, we're making a video. I've used the just the Notes app to see whether the scroll function between steps works.
Step 1, put sauce in pan.
Done.
Says scroll down for step 2. Now, obviously, I could just do that with my digits. My fingers are great. They work. Alternatively, if they were greasy, I could use the end of the spoon. Just swipe, right?
Oh no.
It doesn't work, Mike. It literally has one job.
It must work. It can't not. Okay, it's working now.
You're having to do it at an angle of the
I'm doing it at an angle.
so you need more of a surface area of the angle of the spoon.
No, less of a sir. Yeah, it's using a funny edge.
I'm going to use the spoon for its intended
Yeah.
purpose. I'm stirring my sauce.
Yes.
I'm now going to use my spoon
To scroll down for step 2.
to scroll down in case my hands are messy.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yep.
right. Done this bit. My hand's now dirty because the spoon, which I've used to stir the sauce, has now got the sauce onto my hand when I picked it up
And
and
it's
used the
running
other,
down.
and it's dripping. It's making my hands dirtier than
Oh
they
my
were
God.
before.
And the device.
Umbra claim that you can get more cooking tasks done with fewer tools, allows you to use your tech in the kitchen without the need for additional tools, and that more people are using tablets instead of cookbooks these days, and this tool makes the transition easier. For example, our Sidekick app, there are points during a recipe where you have slightly greasy, or even just from chopping up spring onions, they're slightly wet. But then with a lot of these gadgets, it's not until you practically use them that you realise the problem I thought I had and that this is solving actually isn't a big enough deal, or maybe not even
yeah.
there.
And perhaps we've got the wrong end of the spoon here. It's not supposed
Drippy
to be a
spoon is a
spoon.
problem.
Is it just a stylus for your device that is in keeping with the kitchen? So it is designed to look like a spoon, but not to be
It's
used.
a novelty stylus.
It's a novelty stylus. Next step, add chickpeas and simmer.
Step 3, season. So a little bit of balsamic in there for our acidity, a little bit of sweetness, some salt. So you've seasoned?
Yeah.
Have you checked the seasoning? Lovely little stir. Right, any more of the recipe left? Scroll. Nope. Completed. Well done.
Completed it.
So we've had a full use case of the spoon. Do you want to guess
Yeah.
how much we paid for it?
$4.99.
Ebbers?
Probably 12 quid, because it's probably sold to you with a promise that it
Yeah.
doesn't deliver.
$4.99. Jamie, bang on.
In conclusion, it's not a very good stylus, it's not a very good spoon, it's a terrible both.
So the Umbra iSpoon.
Wow.
Innovative tech or a pain in the neck?
I like the
An
honesty.
absolute pain in the neck.
Yeah.
It's a pain in the neck, 100%.
Let's move on to number 2.
I mean, it doesn't even qualify for that.
If you're going out in
just
the wild,
like, just don't
You need
get
to
me.
know the rules of the rugged.
Just don't.
You
It's
can
a
go
just
farther,
don't.
do more. And with tech along for
Just
the ride,
don't.
you can do it smarter too. Misplace your keys with Virtual Key you're able to share
Smart gadget number 2 is under the cloche.
You've just got me so used to blocking
I'm
everything on here.
fully open-minded.
Just like tech. Turn it off and on again.
Reboot.
It's a flask.
No, it's a Hydrate Spark.
Okay, I'm back.
Boys, this is the Hydrate Spark Pro. This is a stainless steel vacuum insulated chug that keeps drinks cold for up to 24 hours.
Okay.
The LED Smart Center puck glows to remind you when it's time to drink and tracks your water intake by syncing via Bluetooth using the Hydrate Spark app. So it's an insulated water
My
flask.
thermos is great. There you go.
And once you've linked it up to the app, it will track how much water you're drinking throughout the day and how much you've drunk, and it will give you reminders to hit your hydration goals.
I mean, with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, water is right up there.
Yes,
And
yeah.
if as a human you can't do it without a smart gadget, I mean, there's a little bit of Darwinism going on there. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
So the app's connected, and
Yeah,
we're on
just a
today,
bit.
so it can diarise it as well. So you can
I mean,
track your water consumption
Because
across a
my
period of
thermos
time.
keeps my shit cold for
300
24 hours.
millimeters.
Doesn't
I've
remind me to
headed
drink,
off,
I remind me
got
to
to wherever I got to, the bus stop, and I'm gonna have a little drink.
So it's not instantaneous. I wonder whether it updates. Does it update with a swipe or... Oh!
Is that when it updates? It's connecting and... Oh, there we go. It thinks I've had 58 millilitres.
Yeah, that's not much at all. You
What
drank
I've
more
actually
than that.
consumed is 164 millilitres, so it's out by a factor of nearly 3.
Oh, no.
what-
No. So it's just taking a while to update, isn't it? It's taking a while to measure.
So it reckons you've had 149, which is much, much closer.
149 And
Millilitres.
what have you got?
I make it 164.
Okay.
So it's out by a factor of 10%.
Scrolling through the app, you can change the colour of the ring at the bottom. You can track your water across multiple days past. You can set your own individual goals, and it will also send you push notifications to the app to remind you when to drink as well.
It also integrates with Apple Health and Fitbit and other sort of other apps that you're going to be using to track lots of different measurements.
Yeah, it will take your dimensions, your weight, and it will calculate what it thinks your hydration goal should be.
And we should stress, because you've seen the screen recording of this, that 4.6 litres is a goal for Ed. And you are slightly bigger. I think if I
Ed
drank
is
4.6 litres,
6'8".
I would drown myself. It is possible for a human to drown through drinking.
I think what it's trying to achieve is a really positive, good thing in terms of trying to find ways to get people to drink more water. Do
Yes.
we need it? I think is a different question. I think there are other
Not
solutions that might work better.
Yes.
It will either form a habit or it will become wallpaper, and you'll constantly swipe left on a notification because you're busy, and it starts to become annoying rather than
Exactly.
helpful. And you'll be one of two people.
The price you pay is for the water bottle and access to the app. There is a
Right.
premium version of the app, which I think is between £14 and £15 a year. And it means that you can customize the app a little bit more. You can control what types of liquids are put into it.
Because if you were to put hot drinks into it, like coffee,
No,
it's only
we're
90%
not there
hydration.
yet.
I suppose if you put beer into it,
It's even
it's a
less.
much lower hydration.
You can spend quite a bit of money on it.
Beer, 0%.
That's a lie. Light beer is beautifully hydrating. Price-wise, you can spend a surprising amount of money on water bottles. And you think about things like the Stanley Cups, which have gone mad over the last couple of years. I think this obviously does some of that insulatedness, and they've also got the tech part attached to it as well. I reckon it's probably £40.
I reckon it's probably upwards of £80.
Ebba's is closer. It's £69.95, so coming in at around £70. The question I have for you both is the Hydrate Spark Pro. A Hydrate Spark or a Hydrate Fizzle?
It's a fizzle for me. Just drink some water. Have a designated cup or glass or something. That's your water cup. You don't need the tech to help you with it.
I think it's important to note that the tech works. It is smart. I think the question is whether you as an individual should need it, perhaps.
I feel like we gave that one a fair shot.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't want to be accused of being a Luddite. I question whether some of these are necessary.
Well, hold that thought, open that mind, lift that cloche. What on earth is this?
I think that's a laser
Yeah.
that burns onto something. That is your guide, and you can etch your own.
Etch your
what do you
food.
want to etch?
Spaff.
Yeah, on what? On a.
Cream bun.
It's got to. It's generally speaking, it's got to be something you could.
Ebba's a burger bun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's branding, isn't it?
pretty spot on. This is the EveBot Portable Food Printer. Print text and designs on your food. The lightweight pen is easy to hold and prints in 10 to 20 seconds. Perfect for home, business, and other uses.
Okay.
Personally,
I've got to take a piss.
By his feet us from our sins, by his blood. Then he placed his right hand on me and said, dead. Then he placed his right hand on me and said, do not be afraid.
The whole thing, I think it's sick. 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 Oh. The whole thing, I think it's sick. 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 Oh, the whole thing, I think it's sick. Hey, lean on me, show me what you wanna be. I can handle anything, even if I can't handle you readily. Either way, it better be. Don't you fucking pity me? Get up, get off. What the hell am I saying? I know I'm malevolent. Sure as hell decadent. I want somebody to step up, step up. Walls, let me fall, fuck you all. Get a grip, don't listen till I drop the ball. Fuck this shit, I'm sick of it. You're going down, this is a wall.
fuck it, who the fuck am I? To criticize your twisted state of mind. You're leaving me suspect, I'm leaving you grotesque. Feels like a burn from which you never learn. Cause an effect, you jealous ass. Press your face against the glass. Suffer. Fuck this shit, I'm sick of it. Going down, this is a war. Go. Go. I've just begun. It's about that time, gotta get mine. Go. I've just begun. It's about that time, gotta get mine. Go. I've just begun. It's about that time, gotta get mine. Go. I've just begun. It's about that time, gotta get mine. Yeah. You can't kill me, cause I'm already inside you. You can't kill me, cause I'm already inside you. You can't kill me, cause I'm already inside you. You can't kill me, cause I'm already inside you. Sick. Sick. Yeah. Sick. Yeah. Go. Go. Am I the only motherfucker with a brain? I'm hearing voices, but all they do is complain. How many times have you wanted to kill everything and everyone? Say you'll do it, but never will. Can't see California without Marlon Brando's eyes. Fuck with the dead, pages bound in human flesh. Feasting the beast from the blood the words were said. I am a scene from the sacred passage aloud. Trapped in a dream of the Necronomicon.
Personalise your coffee, beer, macarons, cakes, biscuits, and much more.
Coffee.
Would you like to play with it?
Yes.
So we've given you some of the suggested food items there. Obviously, it's linked to an app where you can upload your own designs. You can freehand all sorts of stuff, even put photos. Have a print, have a play. Let's see how it performs.
Let's just test it on some paper first. Brent,
Test one.
test one. Slightly missed the first T. Probably use the error rather than Techers, but let's go again.
Or do you need to change this to test 2?
Oh, good point, good point. No, it's important to get this right. Uploading to your device, you push when you're ready.
Oh, test 2.
Test 2 still doesn't like the first. It's the
In the very initial. Okay.
better.
That was a slower speed.
That was a slow speed.
We're learning.
Unfortunately, that was test 3.
Ah.
But it's marked it as test 2.
Okay, ready for food?
I put this logo
Yep.
onto this bun.
Ah, great. Personalised burger buns.
Upload. Now you can push your print button whenever you want.
It's like trying to get a TV to work with your granddad. Do you know what I mean?
No,
Like,
don't give me
DVD
that. Don't give me that. It's still printing apparently, so it's your fault. It's your device. There we go.
You've put it to start at number 4.
So it's not starting at 0. It's starting at, and it's smudging, and it's smearing. I don't think this one is user error, because Jamie can't use it either. So a sample of 2 and it's rubbish. Has it run out of ink? How much ink do you? What is the ink? Hang on. What is the ink?
Yes.
It's an edible ink.
Oh, fine.
It's all
then.
we're told.
After a few minutes of testing, we got it to work a bit, but not perfectly, which makes it feel like it's something that needs practice to get it really working.
We got it to work on paper. We didn't get it to work on food at all.
So it's worked, but it needs practice, we're obviously not using it quite in the right way.
Oh, you're being very generous, Jamie. I think it's rubbish.
Can you actually see any use for a device
No.
like this?
No.
It's fun and novelty. And I think if you wanted to personalise things for a birthday party or something like that, I can see why it would be fun. I'd rather do it with heat and the caramelisation than adding ink onto food.
I feel like trends have moved on, and I don't feel like we need that. If you want to personalise food, put it
There's
in responsible,
other-
personalised packaging. You don't need to brand up the food.
And there's
10,
other
20 years
ways.
ago, there was a drive to more personalisation, even in restaurants, whereas now all the restaurants winning all the awards, you don't need this kind of novelty. Stand behind good food, produced well and responsibly, that will win.
Shall we talk about price? How much do you think we paid for the EveBot portable food printer?
I reckon it's £100.
85.
We paid £170 for this.
Wow.
You'd have to really want to print some stuff on your food for 170 quid, wouldn't you?
So the EveBot portable food printer, good on paper or not good on anything?
Not good on anything.
Not.
It
no.
sounds good on paper,
Yeah.
doesn't deliver on it though.
No.
We gave it more passenger space. And
Lift the cloche.
I recognise the brand name.
Looks like it should be in a hotel room. Very compact,
It
slimline.
Looks very much like a coffee machine.
It is a coffee machine.
A coffee pod machine with a speaker.
This is the Lavazzo Amodo Milo Voicey. This is the first
what?
coffee machine with Alexa built in. Ask Voicey for your favourite coffee, espresso or long espresso, customised to your taste.
Voicey?
You can then enjoy a real Italian espresso just like at the bar. Set up the length and temperature
Voicey.
of your espresso via the Lavazza app, and you can benefit from all the Alexa functions: voice assistant, smart home control, music, news, weather, and more. What do you think?
Conceptually, I like the thought of being able to say, hey smart device, make me a coffee. Then remembering that I have to be the one to put the coffee cup underneath it and to put the pod in there, I could also just press a button.
It's not a robot that's going to scuttle
No.
off into the kitchen and
Yeah.
then collect it, do all the work, and then bring it to
Exactly.
wherever you're sitting.
No.
I mean,
But-
so straight off, Lavazza is a brand that is well
If
known,
you-
well trusted in the world of coffee.
Well, no, there is a use for it though. There is a use for it already because they just said it's connected. It's automatically connected with the Alexa app. So there is a use for it automatically, right off the bat. Now, okay, you come stumbling into your kitchen. If you take your coffee seriously, this thing is already preloaded for you. So you come stumbling into your kitchen, you throw your cup under there, you throw your pod in, or your pod's already there, who knows. And then you say, hey, Voicey, start my morning routine. And while you're over there, you know, getting your bagel ready or what have you, your coffee's brewing, but it's also, since your Alexa is built in, since your smart device is built in, you know, you don't need one for that room, right? Because it's built into that thing. So like while it's brewing your coffee and you're getting your bagel ready over on the other side of the kitchen, it's also playing your morning news and stuff for you, whatever you do, music, news, what have you. It's playing all that. So you don't need a whole nother, you know, smart device in that room. So there's a use for it.
So you'd expect them to be ahead of the curve.
It will tell you how many capsules you have left, and it will also, if
That's
you want,
nice.
you can do the direct reordering service via Amazon.
Okay, some people would like that.
Capsule in, clamp down.
Hey, Alexa, make me a long espresso.
Of course, your coffee is on its way.
There it goes.
I remember 5, 6, 7 years ago, there were so many trend reports out there and everyone was predicting that every device in our home would need to be smart and voice activated, and we all thought, wow, isn't that the future? It's arrived, and I don't understand why.
It's underwhelming.
Because it's not removing any part of the process.
No.
In fact, I think it's adding it. Those commands, I'm not going to say again because it will make another one, is more effort than just pushing the button.
Can I offer a scenario? And
I
you
already
can
did.
critique it. The night before, you've popped the capsule in, you've put the cup underneath and there's water in it. The following morning, your alarm goes off. You can go into the app, you can tell it to make you a coffee. Whilst you're getting ready, you come down, the coffee's there. It's a scenario.
There's that.
Scenario. Likewise, could I do
There's that.
Hey Alexa, make me a long espresso in 5 minutes.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Yeah, that's
where it could be really smart.
I wonder whether you can customize that somehow.
Are we de-skilling humans to the point where
I mean, I gave a
we
good
expect
scenario,
machines
though,
to do
that they're
more
not using it
than actually we could
because
just
they're
do
not
ourselves?
thinking about the uses that they
Flip it
use
round.
Alexa for.
Rather than a
Is
coffee
what it
machine
is.
having Alexa functionality, what if your Alexa had a coffee
what I
machine
think.
functionality?
If you don't already have one, Alexa, play Classic FM.
Classic FM from Global Player.
There you go.
Newsroom for Classic FM.
In a pod
There you go.
machine,
Not
where
required.
it is just one button, it's not necessarily required. I don't think this is the end product. I think this is the start of something
Yeah.
that could lead to things being
But,
more.
but they got almost there. They almost got there. The scenario where, of course, you're gonna have somebody who's gonna, do the thing, but they don't use their device for the same things that other people do, so they don't think about it. But like I said, you go in, your stuff is preloaded, you hit the kitchen, you're over there getting, throwing your breakfast burrito in the microwave, and you tell it, hey, coffee maker, start my morning routine. It starts brewing the coffee. While it's brewing the coffee, it's also playing you your news updates. And you didn't need to get a separate smart device there to do that. If you don't want the the Echo Show that has the screen, if you're just okay with just like the Echo Dot, well, then there you go. You don't need a separate Echo Dot. It's built into your coffee maker. So there's the use that I see for it. It's not so much streamlining anything or making it easier. It's just what it did was that it eliminated a device from your countertop. And normally, Ben would be the first person to point that out. But he missed that. Whatchamacallit, the other dude, the one who's not here. He's also good at catching that. And I'm surprised. Haven't heard. I mean, like, I'm surprised Ben missed it, and I'm surprised the dude, because he's probably holding the camera since Mike is standing there talking. God, was it Barry? Normally, Barry would be speaking up right now and saying, well, my kitchen, I have limited space, and this would eliminate a device for my countertop. Barry's normally good at pointing that out. Because it's like, now I don't need a separate Echo device because now it's built into my coffee maker. So that's one less gadge taking up space in my kitchen. So for that, 2 thumbs up. 2 thumbs up to them. I also agree with Jamie that this is in no way the end point. This is the beginning. I agree with that. But I think we also have to point out that this already has a massively awesome use of consolidating two devices into one.
Useful.
It's one of those gadgets that I imagine as things move forward and they become cheaper and more commonplace, every hotel room will have one. So that you've got an alarm built in, you've got music built in, you've got check the weather built in before you leave the hotel and do your doing, you need an umbrella.
Now we get
they
to
all already have the very slimline, simple pod.
for hotels.
Ebbers, does it make a nice cup of coffee?
Nothing wrong with the coffee, good crema, it's delicious. That I would expect of Lavazza. The other bits, and maybe it is, again, back to the type of person you are. I still live my life perfectly happy to switch a light on. I don't need to ask a voice command to switch a light on in a room.
No, but I have an Amazon smart plug for my light because my overhead lighting, my room is one of those stupid 1970s houses where they didn't put overhead lighting in all the bedrooms. So only one of the bedrooms has overhead lighting, as ignorant as that is. So I have to hang a lamp. And that often makes the thing for turning, because there is a switch that will turn that entire outlet off and on, which you don't want because I need to plug other things in there as well. So another stupid move by house designers, which is why we need regulations for people who build houses to stop them from doing dumb shit. But no, not only that, but it's like when I get the lamp all hung and everything, the switch inaccessible. So I got a smart plug. So it helps that, but it helps with that, but it also serves a secondary purpose where I can tell my smart device to turn my lights on for me automatically at a certain time. So those two things, boom, boom, work well for me.
I have some more breaking news. This Russia story keeps getting crazier and crazier, and Elon Musk has just been pulled into it. Mayo on Twitter says, the United States government needs to cancel Elon Musk's contracts and revoke his security clearance. Working to sabotage America's presidential election for Russia has consequences. And this is a very legitimate viewpoint to arrive to, and I think you'll be thinking the same thing by the end of this video. I want to lay out the case for why the DOJ is absolutely correct in their indictments of right-wing influencers, and why Donald Trump and all of these MAGA politicians sowing distrust throughout America only benefits Vladimir Putin. It all makes sense, and you can directly connect the lines. So let's waste no time. All that I ask is that you like the video below and subscribe to the channel. So to lay the groundwork, just to catch you up, we got this breaking news notification earlier today. It says, Kremlin agents in the US with millions of Twitter followers were paid $10 million by Russia to spread disinformation and rally support for convicted felon Trump on social media, per indictment unsealed by the Justice Department. Tenet Media, based in Tennessee. And honestly, this didn't surprise anybody. I mean, if you've been paying attention to the direction that the
Republicans will take money from anywhere
since Donald Trump entered politics,
including our enemies.
Donald Trump became the nominee in 2016, you'll notice that they are
the Republican mantra is win at any cost. Even if that means selling out your own country. They don't care about America. They care about themselves and winning. They care about dominance. It has nothing to do with the country.
Becoming increasingly isolationist, increasingly authoritarian. They want to strip away our liberal democracy, and Donald Trump only wants to embolden authoritarian dictators across the globe. He will say in one breath that Vladimir Putin is very smart and brilliant. Meanwhile, people like Justin Trudeau are nasty human beings who are evil. But just to break down a few of the influencers involved, you have Benny Johnson, one of the most smug debate bros you could ever possibly see on the internet. Tim Pool, the dude who never takes a beanie off and is always saying that there's there's a civil war coming up, Dave Rubin, who works with the Daily Wire, and then Lauren Southern. And this brings me to this video that Brett Mycelis, friend of the show, posted where he asked, does this sound like somebody being paid by Russia to you? And I want you to listen to this clip of Tim Pool, and just, it all makes sense now.
But I don't know that it matters anymore. This is psychotic. Ukraine is the enemy of this country. Ukraine is our enemy, being funded by the Democrats. I will stress this again. One of the greatest enemies of our nation right now is Ukraine. They are expanding this war. Now, don't get me wrong, I know. You've got criminal elements of the U.S. government pushing them and guiding them and telling them what to do. Ukraine is now accused, a German warrant issued for blowing up the Nord Stream pipeline, triggering this conflict. Ukraine is the greatest threat to this nation and to the world.
This man is just spewing Russian talking point after Russian talking points straight from the Kremlin. And I don't just say that in jest anymore.
Yeah.
I used to say that jokingly, but it has now been
He's a
confirmed.
puppet.
And this man is supposed to be an alpha male, yet he is baby raging with his beanie on, banging on the desk saying that Ukraine is the enemy of America when Vladimir Putin is invading his next door neighbor. I mean, these people have it so backwards, it's almost impressive. Ron Filipkowski shared a MAGA lawyer named Harmeet that says, remember friends, don't talk to law enforcement without counsel. Just trust me on this. So MAGA influencers are all back the blue, pro-police, cooperate. They'll see a video of a black person getting beat up by a cop and say they should have just cooperated, but now they're saying, remember, don't talk to law enforcement now that you are a Russian shill, an actual Russian shill. I mean, I'm just going to keep going. This gets funnier and funnier. CBS posted a photo with the Chiron, Feds crack down on Russian election disinformation efforts, and there's a blurred out face. Who do you think this is? Who could this possibly be? It's definitely not. You can see the beanie. You can see Tim Pool's beanie, and then you see Tenant Media in the corner. It's absolutely despicable. One more clip of Vivek Ramaswamy, who's the biggest Russian shill of them all. I've been calling him a Russian shill since the second I laid eyes on him. Just take a look.
I want to move to another topic, which is that DOJ seems to be back to Russia, because they announced indictments against Russians for alleged election interference. So the media's favorite talking point, they think, is back. Watch this.
They're not saying explicitly that Russia is trying to help Republicans, but if you just read the context of it, it's extremely easy to figure out what we're talking about here and what the U.S. government...
And here we have Fox News playing defense as always. Now remember, Fox News lost almost $800 million after settling out of court with Dominion because they told lies about election fraud, so I wouldn't put it beneath them to spread Russian propaganda as they have many times in the past.
Okay. Now that I've done all that, yeah, pay attention to what the Republicans are doing. Pay attention to what the Republican politicians are saying. But pay the most attention to what they're not doing and what they're not saying. Not making denials. No. And I think it says a lot that when Republicans hear about foreign interference, rather than, oh my God, this is happening, let's get to the bottom of this, figure out who it is, root them out, and deal with this. Let's put a stop to this. Let's fight this. Let's take measures to prevent this from happening in the future. No. That's something patriots would say. There you go. And they also claim to be nationalistic, right? Claim to be nationalists, right? That's something nationalists would say. Something patriots would say, something nationalists would say. We got to figure out who this is. We got to find out who this is, who they're working for, why, what their goal is. Take steps to prevent this from happening in the future. But when this happens, that's not what you hear from the Republicans. That's not what you hear from Fox News. That's not what you hear from Charlie Kirk and Tim Pool and Benny, what's his name? No. What do you hear from them? Paw, they're going to blame the Republicans. That's all you hear from them. Don't talk to the cops. They're going to blame the Republicans. Don't talk to... That's what guilty people say. Innocent people go, I don't give a fuck. Let them knock on my door. I ain't got nothing to hide. I ain't doing nothing. That's what innocent people do. Guilty people go, don't talk. Don't talk. Okay, guys. They're going to blame us. Don't talk. See what I'm getting at here? There's no denial. Like I said, pay more attention to what they're not saying. Pay attention to what they're not doing, what they're not saying. What are they not doing? What are they not saying? They're not denying it. They're not demanding that we get to the bottom of this. And they're not denying. On the streets, that's what you call sketchy as fuck. For real. On the streets, people be quick to point out, well, they ain't denying it.
Past, and now they are running defense. They're letting Vivek Ramaswamy come on air and just completely spread Russian talking points.
This in 2016. So they have a historical practice when they're afraid of Donald Trump coming back to office. They invent every figment of imagination of Russia or somebody else putting him there without actually paying attention to the threats coming from our own administrative state to free and fair elections.
Look at what he did. Look at what Dickhead Ramaswamy just did. Dicklick Ramaswamy. Surely we all caught what he just did. He just said, no. Don't pay any attention. Don't pay any attention to any foreign governments that might be interfering. Don't look at them. Don't pay any attention to any of that. Don't look at Russia. Don't monitor them and their goings on. Don't look and see if our enemies have a hand in any of this. Don't follow anybody's money. No. Let's blame our own government for cheating. Let's attack our... No. Let's not do a proper investigation and get to the bottom of this. No. Instead, let's attack our own country. Destabilize our own country. Man, Dicklick Ramaswamy is a moron.
In the United States.
Free and fair elections. Number one, that is ironic. Number two, give me a break, Vivek Ramaswamy. Straight up Russian talking points. I'm not gonna lie, the Republican spin machine is honestly just impressive at this point. Donald Trump could genuinely speedrun us into a dictatorship. He could be executing people, and I still think people like Laura Ingraham.
Yeah, let's ask another question. So why I might want to watch that in a minute. Why is Donald Trump always talking about how much he admires authoritarian dictators? Like, anytime he talks about Xi, Xi, Xi Jinping, dude from China, anytime he talks about Putin, Erdogan, anytime he talks about Kim Jong Un, it's always the same. He always talks about how he admires how authoritarian the country is and how much power they have to control the population and silence anyone who doesn't bow down to them. He constantly talks about that because look at how much power he has. Look at how his people love him. Look at how he keeps them in line. It's always stuff like that. Always, always, always. He never talks about, I mean, no one in the MAGA camp talks about loving freedom anymore. Like, they tried to make the masking thing about freedom, but that didn't make any fucking sense because it wasn't about freedom. It was rebelling against medical advice. And there was no point in it. I mean, like, the only reason they even did it and the only reason they even stand by it today is just that whole childish thing that, you know, like Trump, you know, people shouldn't have to do what they don't want to do. I mean, even Bill Maher, that's why I said Bill Maher is not like a liberal. He's a childish jackass. I mean, he's got like a few good points about Trump, like, oh, stealing the election, but then he'll agree with him on like almost every fucking thing else. It's so stupid. And it's all based in childishness. But, I mean, yeah. Jesus fucking Christ. Medical freedom. Yeah. But then when it comes to like gender affirming care and women's health care, medical freedom goes out the fucking window with that crowd, doesn't it? They throw medical freedom right out the window. Because the only thing they were doing medical freedom on was I shouldn't have to get vaccinated if I don't want to. I shouldn't have to wear a mask if I don't want to. You know what? We've got a bunch of required inoculations. This is the one they're going to whine about. Why? Because a doctor dared agree or a doctor dared disagree with Donald Trump. Because they needed to be contrarians. And that's all it was. Donald Trump wants to be the hero of people who do whatever the fuck they want, and everybody else has to deal with the consequences.
Really dive into the news. I hope you're having a fantastic Wednesday. And, you know, there's a lot that we got to talk about today, so let's just jump into it. To start the dive into this very important topic, I'm gonna have to say two words that are gonna trigger some of you. Homeowners Association. For a great number of Americans, one of the most frustrating topics. I mean, it is a topic that could easily fill a 10-hour video of just horror story after horror story. There's so many stories out there in the world of petty tyrants with too much time on their hands, just ruining people's lives, to families facing the possibility of being excluded from their home because the community all of a sudden decided to become 55 plus. But what we're actually gonna be diving into is what may be an impending infrastructure crisis across plus. But
20 years ago when I was 18, immediately following my father's divorce, and my mother moved my brother and I into a condo in a small 16-unit condominium complex northeast Ohio. Our neighbors were about half retirees, half middle-aged single adults in their late 30s, 40s, and one or two families with one or two minor children. Both attended high school and college in the area, and I lived there at least while not living on campus throughout the state until I got married at 28. My wife and I rented an apartment from a large 100-unit apartment complex that just happened to be located directly across the street from our small condo complex. So we continued to visit the condo either to host larger parties, work out of the larger garages necessary, or spend time with family. 5 years ago, my wife and I started having kids, which we now have 3, ranging from 1 month old to 5 years old. After the second kid, our small apartment was getting cramped, and my mother was getting remarried, so we decided to buy
facing the possibility of being excluded from their home.
the condo from her last year. Not only was it more affordable because it was a condo, but I've lived here since I was a kid, and I personally handled nearly all of the tens of thousands in maintenance costs over the years due to my work as a contractor. So it's already been modified to our
Home because the community all of a sudden decided.
Few message from my mother moved out. We got notice that the board of our 16-unit HOA received a request to convert to an over 55 community, and that they were running it by their attorney.
Decided to become 55 plus. But what we're
I don't know, man. I've never heard of any of these good homeowners associations or housing authorities. And I mean, if one ever tried to move into my neighborhood and fuck with me, I'll choose violence every time, motherfuckers. This is my home. That's what people don't think about. That's what people on both sides don't think about enough. Like, that is your home. Stand on your fucking principles. Just straight up. Walk up to the motherfucker, get nose to nose, and tell them, you fuck with my home and my family and the safety of either. And I will fuck with you. There will be hell to pay.
we're actually going to be diving into is what may be an impending infrastructure crisis across America.
And just tell them, you take my home away from me, I'll take your home away from you by any means necessary. You fuck with me, I'll devote the rest of my life to fucking you.
As it turns out, HOAs are often not setting aside enough money for the maintenance that they're required to do. And this might come as a shock to a lot of people, but it is often the case that a lot of the infrastructure within an HOA's community is supposed to be maintained by them. And I don't mean the community items like pools and parks, but even basic stuff like roads
but it goes
and water
into
treatment centers
the
built exclusively for the
council
HOA.
has
Now, this wasn't always the case, and instead directly coincides with the meteoric rise in the number of HOAs.
Because it's the thing, like, if you want to pretend you have authority over something, then you have to take on the liability like any other landlord. If you want to play landlord, grow the fuck up, do the work. Otherwise, shut the fuck up, go back to your playpen, Republican.
HOAs plaguing this country over the past decade or so. Because in 2011, just 11% of new homes were under HOAs. But by 2022, it jumped to 66%, with developers often making deals with cities that the HOAs governing their new developments would handle the infrastructure in order to smooth over the approval process for getting new homes built. And this is where the trouble really starts. Right? We're getting to a point where many of these communities are needing regular maintenance on things like their roads, and suddenly they're finding, oh shit, we don't have cash for it. Like, for example, the situation in West Virginia that Edward Erford, director of community action at Strong Towns, talked about this year. You know, that town was collecting fees from homeowners for the normal things, community upkeep, pool maintenance, and as far as everyone knew, money for regular maintenance. And after a few years, it was clear that the roads needed to be worked on, only then for everyone to find out, oh, it's gonna cost $3 million to repave them. But the HOA, they only had $100,000 on hand. Now, in this situation, they could have levied a special to repave them.
Wow. Oh my God.
Maintenance, and as far as everyone knew, money for regular maintenance. And after a few years, it was clear that the roads needed to be worked on, only then for everyone to find out, oh, it's gonna cost $3 million to repave them.
where
For
did
the
the money
HOA,
go?
they only had $100,000 on hand. Now, in this situation, they could have levied a special assessment fee, which is essentially just telling everyone, surprise, you need to pay the difference. But the homeowners were actually lucky here because the city decided to handle it rather than deal with the political ramifications of angry voters.
Yeah. But then you know what happens? Now my kids don't get their school books. I live on the other side of town. I ain't got shit to do with you or your little Peckerwood community. But now my kids don't get their school books because you motherfuckers are a bunch of Republican grifters pocketing money instead of fixing your own damn roads. Going around talking about, I don't want to pay my taxes. Now you're stealing my taxes to do the work you're too irresponsible, childish, and Republican to do yourself.
But in other instances, things can become far more messy, such as when an HOA is disbanded by a court order for failing to meet its obligations, as one poor homeowner in Texas found out, writing, "My neighborhood was part of an HOA that was court ordered to dissolve years ago, but at that time, the county never took over the maintenance of the roads. In the years following, the roads have obviously completely turned into disrepair. This is leaving the neighborhood without adequate 911."
Fuck around and find out. Yeah, and who are you blaming? Who are you blaming? You're going to blame the city, right? You're not going to blame the fact that the HOA should have never existed in the first place, and that's what created the actual problem.
Show me what you wanna be. I can handle anything, even if I can't handle you readily. Either way, it better be. Don't you fucking pity me? Get up, get off. What the hell am I saying? I know I'm malevolent. Sure as hell decadent. I want somebody to step up, step up. Walls, let me fall. Fuck you all. Get a grip, don't listen till I drop the ball. Fuck this shit, I'm sick of it. You're going down, this is a wall. Fuck it, who the fuck am I to criticize your twisted state of mind? You're leaving me suspect, I'm leaving you grotesque. Feels like a burn from which you never learn. Cause that affect you, jealous ass. Press your face against the glass, suffer. Fuck this shit, I'm sick of it. You're going down, this is a war. Go! Just begun. It's about that time, gotta get mine. Go, I've just begun. It's about that time, gotta get mine. Go, I've just begun. It's about that time, gotta get mine. Go, I've just begun. It's about that time, gotta get mine. Yeah! You can't kill me, cause I'm already inside you. You can't kill me, cause I'm already inside you. You can't kill me, cause I'm already inside you. You can't kill me, cause I'm already inside you. Sick. Sick. Yeah.
Maybe I'll reverse my ride. Motherfucker, you, fuck you. Better suck it up, cause you bled through. Better get away from me. Stay the fuck away from me. I feel safe. Seems you're saved. I feel safe. It seems you're saved. Look me in my brand new eye. Look me in my brand new eye. Look me in my brand new eye. Motherfucker, look me in my brand new eye. Look me in my brand new eye. Look me in my brand new. Inside my shell, I wait and bleed. I felt the hate rise up in me. Kneel down and clear the stone of loose. I wander out where you can see. Inside my shell, I wait and bleed. Goodbye. I'm walking up the town. The light is brighter this time. Everything is 3D past for me. My eyes are red and gold. The hair is standing straight up. This is not the way I pictured me. I can't control my shakes. How the hell did I get here? Something about this so very wrong. I have to laugh out loud. I wish I didn't like this. Is it a dream or a memory? I felt the hate rise up in me.